Hello, good morning. Hope you're fine. Hope you're well. I did make a promise that I was going to read something I had on my pages for nearly 2 years, and the other one I realized that it was nearly 4 years ago, and I'm like, anyways, let's just get straight into it. Anything you want to listen to surrounding this message that I had written years ago, it will be in my last video, so definitely you can find out on my page, which is easy. So the name is What is True Happiness. The name is What's True Happiness, and written by moi. So simply it says, what do I think of when I hear the word happiness? In my opinion, I don't think there should be a descriptive meaning to the word. Such words are mere expressive and subjective. People often say it is a feeling of joy. What is joy? Some words become atoms, indivisible. We use other words to define these words and then ask again what those words mean. It becomes a vicious cycle in a world we can't escape. Some say that happiness comes from seeing certain colors or people. I cannot dispute these claims because but can this happiness be preserved by mere thought, or is it an outwardly expressed feeling? Happiness sure would be said to present itself in various ways, but society has been created to condition the mind of its occupant, create a dogmatic feeling. Whatever happens to those who experience happiness in what we normally would call the wrong place, yet they experience it anyways. Morality has therefore become social rather than personal. This, though, is the price we have to pay for living in a society. Happiness has been conditioned to criticize the feelings of problems we ourselves create. We want to smile, but another member of the society gets a figurative say in if you should or should not be happy. Happiness is said to be inward, but is not allowed to be felt inward. Instead, happiness is socially characterized by what we see and perceive. To be quite frank, I have developed the inability to research these words. Why? This is because I don't want my views to be compromised or based off another man's experience. I say experience because what we document is a result of our experience. A childhood experience, teenage experience, and even that of adulthood. These data are then gathered into a whole experience, and therefore comes a definition. Human is a social being. We dwell within the society. My experience is different from that of my neighbors. Even so, from the way my own family have perceived my own experience for me. What do I believe happiness is to be? I really don't have an answer to this. Is it when you're healthy? But we can be healthy and unhappy. Is it when we laugh or smile? Those are mere appearances rather than reality. All these questions have always puzzled me and has led me to think eagerly into what the word happiness itself means. I thought to myself to rely on the happiness of others, as I myself did not know what it was. I was happier when others around me looked equally happy. That was until I grew older. I then realized that the person on which we base our own happiness on might not truly be happy. This outward appearance might be nothing but a facade that we present to please the soul of another person. My own happiness. I have now perceived happiness as an inward activity, something that can't be influenced. I had watched a documentary on the gut. I learned that the reaction in our gut are particularly responsible for happiness and sadness. which I do believe that they had done extensive research and those results would have been proven to be true. However, I focus my writing not on what I see or hear from others, but rather an outward expression. Various things make me happy, such as when I have a good grade, when I have a perfect score on Duolingo. Previously, I had based my happiness as well as my anger on the faces of others. I quickly realized that this was dangerous for me, as it had become an habit. I thought to myself, if I continue this way, how then will I find myself? How would I know what I truly want or even need? It was quite hard to tell, trust me. When I experienced anger or dissatisfaction, my mom would always often tell me to change my facial expression and not to look angry while others looked in another way. It often confused me as to how this made sense. Now, don't get me wrong. I do not expect a person to etch an unapproachable face. However, I find it hypocritical that I have to smile when I'm not truly happy. I do not expect sympathy or concern when I pull out this face of dissatisfaction. However, I rather deal with my feelings quietly in my mind, away from interference and distraught. I like to be allowed to process my feelings, what I heard or did not hear. Do I need to think more or ask questions more? Have I faulted or wronged another person, which has led that person to wrong me in return? Have I failed in communicating my thoughts properly? Is there a way I could have done things differently? Or is the person just... When I'm able to answer these questions I have internally, then what have I gained from this lesson? What has my morals taught me? And what actions do I need to take to make myself a better me? After I have answered all these questions, I might not be happy yet. But I am at peace with myself. I have made reconciliation with my own actions. I have been able to adjust my mindset into striving to be a better me once again. Now projecting my happiness onto the face of others, I have realized come from a place of satisfaction, contentment, and alike feelings. When I am satisfied with my actions, or with the actions of others may not be towards me, I then become satisfied. I feel safe enough to have a laugh or feel joyful. My aunt is pregnant, her doings, but my happiness is projected from the satisfaction that she will have a baby soon. Once again, I am I laughed when I read this part yesterday, but let's just say there's a reason to it. Once again, I am of financial capacity to give a person about 90% of my earning, which is true. I am satisfied. I am at peace. Why? Because I know and trust that funds to be put into better use, something I might not have done. I believe when I attain the stage where I need to manage and advise funds for person's happiness, it does not become overwhelming. I don't believe in racking, rather sustainability. I believe not in humanity, but rather in myself. This does not come from a place of pride, rather a place of peace and contentment. I hold many wonders, which I wish I could share, but can't. But back to square one. What is happiness? I really don't know, but I really hope it is what I have always dreamed that it will look like. In the constant hustle and bustle of reality, we rarely take time to reminisce. We often forget to remind ourselves that we are messy, but we are still humans. We often watch out for disappointments and forget to reminisce what would have become of our actions if we had done things differently. We dwell too much on the past and forget we need to handle the present. I have spent many hours thinking deep on what I wish to portray and less than an hour of undisturbed typing, documenting my thoughts, and I am still unable to share my precise opinion on what happiness should or should not be. I am not able to fault those who found solace in the wrong place, but still, I wish them peace. I am not able to dictate what, why, and when an individual should experience happiness, or even what happiness truly is. Still, I hope you find hope and vitality to relax and strive for inner peace. I wish for this confusing but true happiness, the kind we are not able to doubt. In all honesty, I ask you, after this very confusing read, what heals you? What should you let go of? What makes you, you? Are you your own happy space? Have you learned to forgive without an apology? Have you made peace with yourself? More importantly, what makes you happy? Yes, 12 minutes. Join me as I continue to share my thoughts on life. Share with me the thoughts of uncertainty and complexity of life and what it should and should not become. Then I wrote my name in italics. I don't even know what to say, but like I said, I'm not here to talk. I'm just here to read. I have done that. I've done my part. I hope you understood. I don't know what there is to understand, but genuinely, there were some really important questions in there. What makes you happy? Does someone have to apologize to you before you actually do forgive? If you don't remember those questions, try go back to the beginning and listen again. There's some real words in there. You just have to really open your heart to hear them, digest them, think about them, repeat it to yourself, and then give yourself, without any influence, answer genuinely, and then take it from there. Well, the other one I read in another video. So till then, bye.